Is Dak Prescott the best quarterback in the league? All that and more on today's episode. You're listening to the Blitz Boys podcast. Hi, I'm Kaiden Jenkins, your host. This is my co-host, Dakota McIntosh. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Kaiden Jenkins2 and Dakota McIntosh 0. Today we're going to be going over this week's NFL games, and we'll just go right into it. And all I got to say about this one is the Cowboys demolished the Eagles. Cowboys 33 to the Eagles 13. Here we go!
Here we go!
Dak Prescott, in my opinion, right now, playing the best football of his career. And
no doubt about it.
He's playing like he's the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. Other people might agree, but yes, in my opinion, yes, he is definitely the best quarterback in the league right now. So, but with that being said, Dak Prescott actually did pretty well this game. I would have to admit. He also, at the end of the game, during one of his interviews, he said that he didn't feel like he played all that well and that they should have put up 50 points on the Eagles rather than 33. And that was just kind of like a FU to the Eagles. And I just loved it, man. The energy this week going into this game was just amazing. The Cowboys were just so confident in what they were going to do, and they went out there and did it. And then also, A.J. Brown called Stephon Gilmore old at the beginning of the game. Sorry about that. That's one of my notifications about the game. But A.J. Brown called Stephon Gilmore old during the game, and Stephon Gilmore just unleashed the dog in him against A.J. Brown. He strip fumbled A.J. Brown, and then once it was recovered, he kind of stood over A.J. Brown like, "What's up, dude?" But
Look up to the big dogs.
It was just an amazing game, and the only thing I gotta say about it is, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, you can go into the stats and all that.
Yeah, I don't have really too much on the stats. That now there are 3 teams in the NFC that are 10-3 and that are going to be fighting for that number 1 seed in the playoffs. It's going to be an absolute dogfight because we got the Cowboys that just beat the Eagles, and the Eagles as well as the 49ers. The Cowboys, as of right now, are second in the NFC just because the 49ers beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. But the way the Cowboys have been playing, they are playing the best football. The hype that they've been bringing since 2016 is finally here. They're finally showing up. They're finally playing. And the Eagles, they started off they had a great start of the year. They're starting to kind of go downhill. I mean, because in this game, they got to get a hold of their penalties if they want to compete with these teams, the good teams. They had 10 penalties for 95 yards. It's the little battles. You can't have silly little penalties like they were having, and their defense just wasn't able to stop the Cowboys on third downs, allowing 9 for 16 and then 1 for 1 on fourth downs. And then their offense just couldn't hang on the ball. They had 3 lost fumbles, and the Cowboys had 1 lost fumble. But I just think they played a really sloppy game. They really need to get it together if they want a chance of winning a playoff game.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Their luck is finally running out, and it's a bad time for that to start happening. But on the other side, Dak Prescott is number 1 on the MVP candidate. He is rated, I believe he's plus 175, and Brock Purdy is plus 250. Speaking of Brock Purdy, we're going to go into the 49ers game. 49ers beat the Seahawks 28-16, and it's just sheer quarterback play, honestly. They started Drew Lock, the Seahawks did, and he just wasn't cutting it for the team, and it
Yeah,
showed
they
on
need
there.
Gino.
But yeah, but Brock Purdy, he did have a good game, and I'll let you go over the stats on that.
Yeah, and I know this is gonna make you upset, but honestly, Dak Prescott's having a really good game. The only reason, in my opinion, he's number one in the MVP candidate is because Brock Purdy hadn't played great all year. But as of right
Neither
now,
did Dak. Dak didn't play good before the bye week. But Brock
yeah,
Purdy, the reason why he's not on the top is because if they had, like, if Dak Prescott was on the 49ers, they would be doing the same thing. If Brock Purdy was on the Cowboys, they would not be doing the same thing. Because Purdy is surrounded by multiple weapons. I'm not saying that he's not good, but he's not as good as Dak Prescott. If you were to swap quarterbacks, 49ers would still be great and Cowboys wouldn't be doing so well. And that's how I view it. And a lot of people might not view it that way, but honestly, he is a good quarterback, but he's not on Dak Prescott's level, in my opinion.
yeah, and I actually couldn't agree more with you. I think that the stars, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, they all bring up the 49ers, and that is why they're doing so well, and Brock Purdy's doing so well. But with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, Dak is bringing everybody up. He's making plays. He's bringing. He showed CD Lamb. He showed everybody how good CD Lamb is and how he is a true wide receiver one. And then he's also getting Brandon Cooks there in the mix. I mean, that's my opinion as well, and how I feel like he is number one. But Brock Purdy is very, very
Yep.
close because of past couple games. I mean, in this game he had 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. That's that's insane. That,
Slants
you
and
don't really
bubbles.
see much. I mean, yeah, half those passing or most of those passing yards are on yards after catch. But CMC Christian McCaffrey had a really good game. He didn't have a touchdown. Sadly, I was kind of rooting for it, but he had 16 carries, 145 yards, and then Debo had 7 receptions for 149 yards, and Brandon Ayuk had 6 receptions, 126 yards. They both combined for 275 yards, averaging 21.15 yards per catch. And that Seahawks defense was just getting obliterated. Honestly, they couldn't stop
Yeah.
it.
How many of that 21.15 yards per catch is after the catch? Percentage wise.
In my opinion, I I think it's probably like 15 yards. 15 yards
Yeah.
is run after catch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into stats and everything, and I'm not saying Brock Purdy's bad because he is doing good, but like we were saying, a lot of those yards are after catch. I'm not saying on the year, but in this game, a lot of those yards were after the catch. So, but yeah, Brock Purdy, great quarterback, but I think next year he can be like talked about very, very highly. This year he's not, in my opinion, MVP, but next year he could totally take that title.
You're just saying that because he's in the race with Dak. That's why you're saying it.
It, but look at it. If you put Dak Prescott on the 49ers, this is going to be my argument. Put Dak on the
Yeah,
49ers,
yeah.
49ers are great. Put Brock Purdy on
The
The
Cowboys.
Cowboys are mid.
That's a very very controversial argument, but I would agree with that argument. I would 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's enough on there. I don't want to harp too much on that, so we'll move on to the next game. We're going to go over to the Patriots versus the Steelers. Patriots actually get a win over the
I
Steelers,
know
21
what's
to
up.
18. Who would have saw it coming?
I did. I did. I did. Me.
uh, but yeah, on there, Patriots played a pretty good game. Steelers, their luck finally run out as well. It's just they were getting a lot of good calls going their way, and this game the ball just didn't bounce their way, and so the Patriots won this game. Uh, and Ezekiel Elliott, man, he is still good, still
He's
good.
mid. He's
I
mid.
believe he had 70.
He's mid.
No, no. I believe he had like 70 yards receiving and close to that same number rushing. And he was one of the key factors to what made the Patriots win on offense. And yeah, it was just awesome to see Zeke as a Cowboys fan do good. And so, yeah, that's all I got to really say about this game. But I'm just happy for the man.
Yeah. You covered basically everything I would have said about the game. I mean, I feel like the Steelers' luck. They're just such a bad team. I say it every week, but they are such a bad team, and I don't understand how their record is what it is. I mean, they like you said they get the good calls, but happy it's starting to run out.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next one. We're going Buccaneers 29, Falcons 25. The Buccaneers on this game, they did pretty well. It was a close game. It was decided by 4 points on there, and yeah, the Buccaneers they just played better football than the Falcons, and that's what won them the game on offense and defense.
Yeah. Um it was it was really back and forth. The Falcons actually had the lead until 31 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Then Baker Mayfield threw it up, and I believe it was their tight end came down with it in the end zone, and then they're able to stuff him and run the clock out. I mean, the one factor of this game is the Falcons. They weren't able to establish their run game like they have been in the past couple weeks. They had 74 total rushing yards between Bijan and Tyler Algier. But a person who stepped up was Drake London. He had 10 receptions, 172 yards, but it wasn't enough. And now with the Buccaneers winning like I wanted and the Falcons losing, that has all three of the NFC South teams tied. They're all 6-7, and I need my Saints to come out on top. I need to keep their playoff hopes alive. It's gonna be a foot race from here on out.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Saints, I'm not going to go too into depth on the Panthers. I'll let you talk about your Saints, but the Panthers, I'll say this again. I know I sound like a broken record, but their offensive line is horrible and their defense isn't much better. Now, I feel bad for Bryce Young and I feel bad for a lot of the quarterbacks that go number one overall because they typically go to really, really crappy teams. And
Yep.
with that being said, I feel bad for Bryce Young, man. I just hope that in this draft, the Panthers they try to sort out some of their issues, and they need to be very active in free agency as well.
Yeah, the one thing, so that Panther offensive line, they weren't good on the pass, but the run, they
No,
demolished the Saints. They had
mm,
204 rushing yards on the game, but one thing they weren't able to get in the end zone and score in the red zone. The Saints held them 0 for 2, but they allowed two field goals. And I think the Saints used to be a top defense, passing and rushing. But now I'd probably rank them probably like 25th ranked for the rushing now. And their passing, I'd probably rank it. I honestly, I'd say they are top three passing defense. Their passing defense is so good. I
Mm.
have to say that. I mean, they only allowed 99 passing yards that whole entire game, but that also goes with the Panthers' awful pass blocking and be able to get to Bryce Young, cause the pressure, and basically keeping the Saints' hope alive. I mean, I'm just so happy that they won, and just
Can
on to the
can I
next
knock
one.
you down a few steps though? Can I knock you
No,
down a few steps?
no, you can't.
Depending on the Saints or whoever wins that division, it's still up in the air if the Cowboys are going to be the fifth or the first
uh,
seed. But if the
don't
Cowboys
remind
are the
me.
first
Don't
seed
remind me. Don't put me.
or the Eagles are the first seed, you're going to have to go against either the Cowboys or the Eagles in the first round of
Yeah.
the playoffs.
Wait. We got a special guest here today, okay? Let me show you. We got Mickey Mouse himself. And look, what is this? A Saints jersey? A Saints jersey? What? I mean, if I got Mickey Mouse on my side, I don't need no one else, you know? Hi, man. See? Go Saints. See, man, best fan except
All
for me.
right.
Second best.
We'll move on to the next game. We're going to go Lions, Bears. Lions 13, Bears 28, man. The Lions, their defense is just being exploited. Their defense is not good. Um, it's just not looking too good for the Lions right now. I hope they can turn it around. I'm not sure if it's just a divisional thing with the Bears to where it's just a tough game because it's in the division, but the Lions just did not play good football, and it showed.
Yeah, honestly, and they're paying the price for that. Losing to the Bears, I think that's the season sweep right there. I believe.
Two times.
Yeah, and it's just, I feel bad, but they really
I mean,
didn't
the
deserve to win
Lions,
that
they're most
game.
likely, yeah, they're most likely going to be in the playoffs, but with how they're looking right now, I
Yeah,
don't think they make a deep push.
honestly, yeah, because last week when they played the Saints, that first quarter, they looked amazing, phenomenal. Like
Hmm.
they'd be able to keep up with the Cowboys, the 49ers, and now the other three quarters and this whole entire game, I'd believe
Yep.
it'd be like how the Eagles went on their downfall. 49ers lost 19 to 42 and then next week lost to the Cowboys 13 to 33. I think
Yep.
that's kind of like how the game would go as of right now.
Yeah. Lions are still a pretty good team, but they're just not playing good football. I'm not sure if it's due to them being tired towards the end of the season or if it's a confidence issue or if it's a coaching issue. But all I got to say is that they got to get things sorted out before they play the Cowboys because
Mm,
they're playing the Cowboys in a couple weeks and they got to get it sorted out. I think they play them in 3 weeks.
yeah, no, that's going to be a scary matchup. They really got to look forward to. They got to be ready for it. Cowboys, they're going to hit them with everything they have, their whole entire arsenal, and you have to be prepared for it, or else you're you're going to get slaughtered.
Yeah. We'll move on to another slaughtering. The Colts
Ooh,
lose badly to the Bengals.
Jake
Colts
Browning.
14, Bengals 34. Jake Browning is surprising everybody. I know he's surprising me because I had no hope, but he is
Surprised me.
doing phenomenal. Now, I who knows if it's going to hold up, how long he's going to be able to do it, but they can make a playoff push if he keeps on playing the way that he is.
Yeah, honestly, and if he's able to, I mean, I don't think they go very far into the playoffs, but they might win a game or two with how he's playing. Like he's taken up where Joe Burrow kind of left off, and
Yep.
he's really just stepped up to the plate, and it's been really awesome to see him do that and take up the challenge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the Colts on the other hand, I know they're missing JT because
Ugh.
Zach Moss, he did not have a great game. He didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have a great game. I feel like the Colts would have been in it more if they had Moss and JT on the field, but it's just Gardner Minshew. How long is he going to hold up, you know? Like, he's not a great
Yeah.
quarterback. He was a backup most of his career. So, and he was a backup on the Colts and because Anthony Richardson went down at the beginning of the year. The Colts,
Nah.
they need to turn things around because they have playoff hopes as well. If they, I think they have to win out. But yeah, that's all I got to really say on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I I think it's really sad what happened to Anthony Richardson. I mean, I think he could have been a big influence on the Colts. And
Mm-hmm.
next year, back from that Achilles injury, and hope that the Colts are able to go further into the season.
Yeah. We'll move on to another surprising quarterback play. Jaguars lose 27 to the Browns 31. Joe Flacco did amazing. Joe
You
Flacco,
doubted him.
I
I
did.
doubted him.
And I don't know how long he can hold up because of his age, but in this game, he played some pretty decent football.
Yeah.
And
Yes, he did.
he was able to beat the Jaguars, and that's not something that's easy, you know? Like the Jaguars are a good team,
Hmm.
and the Browns just went in there and they took care of business.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, ETN and Tila, they didn't have bad games. Just Joe Flacco with his experience and stuff. We all thought that his age was gonna slow him down and it was just gonna be a cakewalk for the Jaguars, but he came out there and he surprised all of us.
Mhm. Yeah, uh, I hate to say it, but Joe Flacco played better football than T-Law in this game, and it showed.
Yeah, it did.
So next, we're gonna go on to a game that I feel bad for another rookie. Texans lose 6 to the Jets 30. CJ Stroud, hold on, wait. CJ Stroud lost Tank Dell last week, Nico Collins this week, Dalton Schultz this week. The only other player that he had to throw the ball to
Nico
was
Collins.
Noah Brown. No, Noah Brown.
Oh.
One of those two. All I know is they're injury ridden, and then you see CJ Stroud go down and lay on the turf for a while. That was some scary stuff. Now, I think next week the Texans have a bounce back week, but this week just chalk it up as a loss. You lost to the Jets, and the Jets put up 30 on you, so you just got to deal with that.
I am so angry at your host right now who talked me out. Go watch our predictions. I was sitting there. I was like, this is gonna be hard for me. But I talked some sense into myself, and he's sitting over there. He was like, I talked sense into him. And I should have went with my gut. I had the Jets win. I had them winning, but this dude talked me out of it. That's all. I'm just
It's
fired
all.
up about that. That's all I'm fired up about. He's hurting my record.
Yeah. Just if you didn't call my bluff on that, maybe I should invite you over to play some poker because I'd be stealing your money.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. All
All right.
right.
We're going to move on to a very high scoring game. Both teams combined scored 68 points. The Rams lose 31 to the Ravens 37. Lamar Jackson, the offense, the defense, everything is just so good. Now, Zay Flowers, dog. Odell Beckham Jr., dog. Just everybody, bro. Like, I watched this interview for Odell Beckham, and he ran the total wrong route, but he scored a touchdown because Lamar Jackson was like, "Yeah, I trust him. He's open. I'm going to throw him the football." Like, that's just the type of chemistry that they have, and it's just shaping up to be that the Ravens are looking very, very good.
I mean, you've seen like the Super Bowl logo speculations and
Yep.
everything. They say it's going to be Ravens and the 49ers. I mean, and right now I could definitely see those two teams being in the Super Bowl with how they're playing. I hope they're wrong.
Yep.
Yes, I hope the Saints are in there or in the Super Bowl, but I think we all know that, that's not gonna happen. But but I mean, as far as I can say, yeah, no, they had an amazing game. Rams had a really good game too against that stout Ravens defense. Puka Nakua had a great game, an amazing catch with no gloves on or anything. But yeah, no, that's all I gotta say is that it was just a dogfight to the end, final in overtime.
Saints Super Bowl. All right.
Dude, yeah, right now, call it.
All right. We're gonna move on to the next game, and all I gotta say is the Josh Dobbs story is over. The Vikings scored 3 points, and the Raiders scored 0.
Yikes.
You want to hear how the stat sheet went for the drives?
Yeah, I do actually.
I believe it went punt, 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 turnover on downs, punt, punt, field goal, punt, turnover on downs, punt, punt.
Wow. I'm actually
Exciting game to
pulling it
watch,
up.
huh?
Oh yeah, very defensive, I will say. I'm actually pulling it up right now and looking at it because I believe
Yeah,
that this was
it's
the lowest scoring game since like 2017 or like something like that. No, it's in 16 years. Yeah, lowest scoring game in 16 years. And let's see this.
that's
Let's see
crazy.
this. So it went punt, 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 missed field goal, punt, punt, and a half, punt, fumble, punt, 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 field goal, interception, punt, fumble.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot to say. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I mean, if you like low scoring games, this was probably your favorite game of the week. But for
Honestly,
me, this was it was a snooze fest. I turned it off in the first quarter.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
I I didn't think anything was going to happen, and I was right. So,
Honestly, I just watched on
Vikings, they
ESPN.
just, yeah. And the one thing I got to say about the Vikings is Justin Jefferson, he came back, and his very first catch back, he got popped so hard that his chest, he was having chest pains, and they brought him to the hospital to be evaluated. We'll keep you in touch on that. But yeah, and then the Raiders, they just got to figure something out at quarterback. Aiden O'Connell's not him. He can get
Yeah,
he's a decent backup. He could get you through a couple
he's
games, but you can't
he's
rely
a
on him
decent.
for a full
No,
season. So
no.
that's all I got to say about that game. We'll move on to a game that people were upset about. The Bills trump the
Hmm.
Chiefs 20-17. And the play everybody is talking about is Kadarius Toney lining up offsides by 50 yards. No, I'm joking. He was lined up offsides, and
Yeah.
then Patrick Mahomes is circling around in the pocket, throws it to Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey throws it back, I believe, to Kadarius Toney,
Yep,
and
it was
Kadarius
Kadarius
Toney
Toney.
runs it in for the touchdown, and it's called back because Kadarius Toney was lined up offsides.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was clearly offsides, and Patrick Mahomes was very upset that they called it. I don't understand why,
So is Andy
because
Reid.
he was offsides. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, but he was offsides. There's no doubt about it. I mean, like, if they would have called like a false start for like a small little flinch that could be not considered a false start, then they would have an argument. But he was clearly offsides. He was his foot
Mhm.
was like in front of the football, and he was
Yeah.
even looking across the line at the football,
Yeah.
and his head is right where the football is. That was just not a heads up play by Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
Josh
they should get
Allen.
rid of him.
Yeah. Josh Allen, man, he played some good football. I'll let you talk about the Bills, but I do want to talk about one play. So,
uh
Josh Allen could not find anybody open. He rolls out to his left, keeps on rolling out to his left, almost out of bounds, leans backwards, and lobs it up and completes a pass like he was doing a fadeaway three, and it was just incredible. And yeah, Josh Allen, he looked like he was playing some good football. Now we'll have to watch and see how that continues, but I'll let you talk.
yeah, I kind of I want to go back to that one play. I know it's very controversial right now, and I think the refs made the right call. I mean, they're saying that you shouldn't have made that call, but like you said, if like a little flinch of a false start, like if the center moves his head up too quick, they call it a false start. And
Mm-hmm.
this, I mean, this was blatantly obvious. His foot was across the line. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes both said that it shouldn't have been called because of that that position in the game. They say it should have been called, but I definitely think it should have. But let me get to more stats about the Bills. I mean, like you said, Josh Allen, he had himself. It wasn't a great game. It was a pretty okay game. He had 209 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He had 32 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And the person that really carried the team was James Cook. He had 10 carries for 58 yards, but then he had 5 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. And
Mm-hmm.
that's that's pretty awesome to see that. And their defense was just able to stop them. They hit Mahomes 8 times. They swat down 5 passes. I mean, they just looks they look good in this game.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the next couple games. This one I know Dakota's excited about. and I was excited
I'm
too.
really not.
Even though I picked the Dolphins, I was excited to see the Titans win this game. So Titans win 28-27. The last drive of the game, and Will Levis shows out. Then
Ooh.
King Henry himself brings it in for the score. And it was just a fun game to watch. If you like offensive burst plays, there were a lot of those in this game.
Yeah, and who called it? Who called in the predictions? I did. I called it. I felt like the Dolphins weren't gonna be the team to win this week. I mean, I was nervous that last drive. I was so scared. Like we're he the way that he was able to lob the ball up in open space to D Hop to get him inside the 30-yard line was insane. That
Yeah.
just the ball placement on that and his ability and D Hop's ability to run away from Jalen Ramsey was just great. And that crossing route's OP, dude. OP.
Will Levis is jacked, bro. Like
Oh my
he's
god.
strong,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised he hasn't been drug tested yet. But
They should drug test him.
yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on to the next game. Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos scored 24 to the Chargers 7,
Whoa.
and Chargers just they're not playing good football, and a lot of it is due to play calling. And I'm gonna put it out there right now that it's due to Kellen Moore. And there's other key factors, but there's things that can be sorted out with play calling. If your wide receivers are dropping the football, stop throwing it deep. If your running backs are getting 4 yards a carry, run the football. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and I really just I was hoping for the Chargers to finally show some hope. I mean, I was looking forward to it, and then they let me down. I was hoping last week that they'd have a little bit of spark, a little bit of chemistry going down, but no. And this week was all the same stuff, dude. And it breaks my heart to see because they're such a good team. It just angers me. It breaks my heart,
Yeah.
honestly.
Do you have any notes on the Broncos?
Oh, on the Broncos, let me look here. So let's see. So Russell Wilson, he had a decent game here. He had two touchdown passes, 224 yards, and an interception. And he was able to step up in the pocket and deliver a touchdown pass to Cortland Sutton. I mean, I said it in a couple weeks before, but they are a duo to be reckoned with. They are on the same page. They should be they should be in the talk for probably I'd say honestly top 5 quarterback receiver duos. Just because they're able to connect on some clutch plays. They started the year 1-5 and now they're seven
Current
and six.
or like current without injuries?
Yeah, current without injuries.
Okay. Yeah, I could agree with that.
And
Now,
yeah, that
if we weren't talking injuries, then I would say just outside of the top 5. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to go to the Packers versus the Giants. The Giants showed out with a game-winning field goal
Mhm.
against your Jordan Love.
Oh,
And
who predicted them to win? Who did? Who did? Here, let me hear it. Let me hear it.
you did.
Let me hear it.
No,
On.
I just didn't see the Giants winning this game, but they proved me wrong, and I hope
They
they can
did.
do it
They
again.
did. They
And
will.
I'm calling it right now. They split the game. They split the games between the Eagles, and they might win both of them. That's that's my prediction right now.
Wow.
So I'm not sure
Okay.
which one they win or lose, but they could very well win both of them with how the Eagles have been playing. So on there, got to give flowers to the Giants, and Jordan Love just wasn't able to get it done against Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, I watching that game. I was shaking. I was nervous because Saquon had his third career fumble out of 1,400 carries, and it almost iced the game because the Packers went down and they threw up a touchdown. They failed on the 2-point conversion, but they left just enough time for Tommy DeVito to go down, put him in field goal range, and they kicked the game winning field goal. And I was ecstatic for that. I was sitting there rooting for them because I predicted them. I gotta have my record as much as I can, but it just it made me so happy to see that. And Saquon, he had, I believe it was 68 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. That was that was awesome to see.
Yeah. I'm looking up here. Saquon Barkley has fumbled 6 times in his career, but still,
Six
that's
times.
from 2018 to 2023, only fumbling 6 times. That's not too bad. He's good at hanging on to the football, and he just lost one, and it happens to everybody. But
It
yeah,
really does.
Giants just win this game against the Packers, and the Packers, I believe, they're going to have to win out and have a couple different teams lose if they want to make the playoffs. But yeah, with that being said, this is the end of the episode. Next episode, we're going to be going over the predictions and over our weekly record. I believe I'm still losing, but
We'll
we'll call
see.
the
We'll
episode
see.
there. Thanks for listening to the Blitz Boys podcast. I'm Kaiden Jenkins. This is your co-host Dakota McIntosh. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Kaiden Jenkins 2 and Dakota McIntosh 0. Before every episode, I will be posting on Twitter asking for any questions that you guys want to talk about. So go ahead and look out for that, and we'll talk about it on the podcast. Deuces.
Doses. We'll see you guys next.